Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks, and well, it is just past June 1st at the time of this recording, which means it was time to get the June 1st LEGO haul. Alright, so as you can see, I'm actually currently on vacation at the moment, but it was actually very important that I got a certain number of these sets here in Europe while I was traveling before going back to the US for a couple of reasons. You see, for whatever reason this year, the exchange rates for the LEGO set prices in Europe ended up being far cheaper than buying them in the US. Namely for the LEGO City line, which you can see predominantly kind of dominates the collection here, as well as just a few other sets here and there. Now, typically it's the other way around. America or the US usually has things cheaper, but for whatever reason this year, it was much more expensive to buy it in the US versus buying it in Europe. And I actually ended up saving close to $500 by buying these sets here versus in the US. Now, of course, this is not everything that came out on June 1st. There were several Minecraft sets where the price difference was pretty negligible, so I just ordered those off Shop at Home. You can actually see those right now on screen, as well as a number of Harry Potter sets which aren't due to release until June 19th in the US, but the price difference again was pretty negligible, so I will just be ordering those there, as well as just a couple other things I was worried were going to sell out. But for the most part, besides those sets, this is basically everything that released across all regions on June 1st. Now, the other big reason why I wanted to get these in Europe is that most of these sets do not actually release until August 1st in the US. Namely, a lot of these City Stunts sets, the I Am Groot figure, the Monkey Kid sets, also the Creator stuff, and of course the Ninjago crystallized stuff, which you can actually see on screen right now as well for the wave boxes of the crystallized sub-theme. All of those do not release until August 1st in the US, which means that these are actually coming to me quite a few months early, and I'm excited to be able to build them just a little bit early for all of you to check out. Now, I will be publishing reviews of some of the individual sub-themes, probably just Ninjago and Monkey Kid for now in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. But as of right now, let's just jump right in for a closer look at all these sets. Alright, so here we are at the Rome LEGO store. It is just past June 1st, which means it was time to get a lot of, but not all of the June 1st sets here. Now, surprisingly enough, it is actually a lot cheaper to buy LEGO in Europe than in the US for this particular year, which is why I've made a ton of my purchases here, and I can't wait to showcase the haul. Let's go. Alright, so starting off, we're going to make our way from this side all the way over to the other side of the pile. A little bit disorganized because there's a few different sets from different themes all over the place. But I just kind of want to make this as easy as possible to showcase what exactly I was able to pick up on this particular June 1st LEGO haul. So first of all here, I want to start off with some of the LEGO City stuff. Now, they released a ton of new LEGO City Stunts bikes, one of which you can see right here. Now, Stunts surprisingly is a sub-theme that is still going strong. I actually really like it because it kind of reminds me of LEGO Racers back when they were doing a lot more experimentative stuff in the early 2000s. This is a really strange sub-theme of LEGO City that honestly works out really well. Now, I've actually got a chance to build all of the different racers in the sub-theme already, so you can see them right here. Now, you've got a dark blue one, and you have another new one with a red colored, almost like a Ninjago Oni mask. But my personal favorite was this one right here. It is just a guy riding a motorcycle bathtub with, of course, the duck logo on it for Duckbricks. I had to pick up a couple of these for myself. If you want to see the bikes in action, I've got them right here, actually. They actually work quite well if you just rev them up, and they will just shoot straight off. So they work very well. As you can see, they're just bulldozed right through my pile of minifigures, but they're just really fun toys to have in general, and I really like the inclusion of a brand new helmet mold here, which you can see, this is a specialized mold that actually allows you to place horns in the helmets themselves. Speaking of LEGO City, they are launching a brand new initiative this summer called LEGO City Missions. Now, this is pretty interesting because it does not include any instructions. Instead, it focuses on app plays. And you can use the app to figure out what pieces to put on the base model for new missions and whatnot. Now, LEGO's app-focused sets have typically been pretty hit or miss, emphasis on the miss, so I'm not really sure how popular these will be, but I did want to get this especially because it introduces a lot of brand new animals. Namely, we got the recolor of the LEGO Marvel CMF baby alligator piece, this time in a more lime green color. We have the Harry Potter hair element, which previously was only available in transparent glitter blue, now in a more realistic darker brown color. A recolor of the Harry Potter owl. Of course, you have a standard crocodile as well, and you even have a bear cub right there, which is a new recolor of a certain piece. So all sorts of great new pieces here, especially for people interested in Lego animals. This is a wonderful parts pack. Another big reason why I wanted to get as many LEGO City mission sets here as possible is because specifically in Europe, they only cost around $31 US when you compare the prices. Now in the US, these cost $40, and since I'm from Washington State, that's 10% tax. That'd be $44, which means I saved around $14 by buying them per set in Europe versus in the US. So really wanted to get them. The City Police one is probably one of the least interesting ones for me personally, but it is still nice to get, and I do appreciate that it kind of feels like a LEGO Agent set almost. And in addition to that, what is very interesting is that we also have a LEGO space-themed mission set. Now this is really interesting to me because I'm a big fan of LEGO Space. You have a lot of different recolored elements appearing for the first time in the set, like the yellow radar dish there. What's also really cool is that they actually reintroduced a classic vintage LEGO piece. This is one of the jet engines from some of the classic LEGO spaceships, but recolored in gunmetal gray for the first time, which is really awesome. And of course, that printed Classic Space logo is amazing to get as well. And even if the app doesn't work too well, I'm just glad that we're getting some sort of original LEGO Space concept in 2022. And this is not it, because we will be getting more Classic Space stuff this summer, but that's for August. Moving onwards to some more LEGO City stuff, LEGO City reintroduced the farm sub-theme, which is really great to see here. Now this set is pretty egregiously overpriced in the US. It is $70 US, which means that is $77 where I'm from. Now, some of that probably could be attributed to the fact that it is 4+. You do have a lot of new animals, such as a woolly sheep cover mold. You also have a baby lamb mold, which is new, a baby piglet, as well as the cow coming back for a new color for the first time in a long time, but absolutely does not justify the $70 price tag in the US, whereas here, if you convert from euros to dollars, it's only $44. So that is a pretty insane amount of savings, again, getting this set in Europe versus the US, almost $25 saved just by getting it here. So this is one that I absolutely had to pick up. It's also, of course, tax-free in Europe, so that is another major benefit here. But you can see all the new animals it introduces. I'm very happy to get this just to get my hands on the brand new animals. Pretty much all of which are new for the set except for the pig there. And of course we did get the sheep before, but not the woolly version that goes over it. Moving onwards, still continuing on LEGO City as much as I can, we have kind of a generic amusement park set here. This I just wanted to add to my fairground collection of LEGO City stuff. It's a fun little ride which you can actually activate by twisting some pieces in the back. It's just kind of a fairground ride that reminds me of the Creator Fairground Mixer, but actually folds up fully well just like the original Creator set. Moving onwards, we have some more sets, but let's just kind of wrap up the ones here first. Star Wars, really the only release for June 1st was the Mandalorians N1 Starfighter, as seen in the Book of Boba Fett series. Now this one I actually have built myself, so I can show it to you. This was pretty much a similar price in the Europe versus the US, but I really did want to pick this up, especially because a lot of the pre-orders were already sold out in the US. Now, surprisingly, the set is actually a lot better in hand than I expected it to be. I wasn't really too impressed by it when it first showed images, just because of how inaccurate it seemed with the wing proportions, as well as just how large it was compared to the actual in-universe version. But this is just a really fun, very swooshable spaceship to have, and I really appreciate that it's the first time we're getting one of the BD droids from the Jedi Fallen Order series that of course did appear in the Book of Boba Fett, and we are getting some Jedi Fallen Order sets later this year to represent BD1 in particular, but it's really cool to get that brand new mold which can be stored in the ship itself. Next up, we have one of the 4+ Ninjago sets. Now, this is obviously not for the crystallized wave. This is just for the core wave, which is just focused on inventive play that is not tied to the television show itself. It's just kind of a random set that is $40, which is pretty expensive for what you get, but again, that's kind of what you've come to expect with the 4+ Ninjago stuff. It's a good set for what it is. The dragon has a very strange and interesting color scheme, but nothing too special. Moving onwards to LEGO Creator, here we have one of the really nice sets from this summer. This is one of these sets including an octopus and scuba diver here. I really actually appreciate the dark red octopus build there. It's one of the most realistic octopuses we've actually gotten in LEGO form before. Of course, it's very oversized, but I think it definitely makes sense in the context of a LEGO set. Now, what's also great about this set is that, again, this was a lot cheaper to get in Europe versus the US, where in the US I'd be paying close to $38. Here, I paid close to $31. So a pretty good discount for a set this small. And of course, with Creator 3-in-1, you do have inspirational builds for other models, although obviously I'll be building the main thing. Moving onwards, we can return to LEGO City, back to LEGO City Stunts. These are some more examples of sets that are much cheaper to get here in Europe versus the US. LEGO City Stunts is introducing this kind of smaller type of set for just one motorcycle and a bit of a challenge for them to encounter. This one in particular, I believe, is called the Shark Attack Stunt Challenge. In the US, I'll be paying $38 for these, whereas in Europe, I only paid $21, so that's a savings of $17 per set, which is really great. Same for this one, and this one, so all sorts of great stunt stuff to get. I really like the stunt sub-theme, but it's obviously very, very overpriced in the US, so I'm just very happy to be able to get them for cheaper here. This set in particular really stands out to me because they actually recolored the LEGO Ninjago Prime Empire blades in a transparent blue color for the first time, and they also reintroduced the Praetorian Guard armor in purple for the first time as well. And you can't quite see it, but the face underneath the helmet is a really unique one, and I can't wait for that to be available on Bricks and Pieces. Continuing along with LEGO City Stunts, we have one of these sets introducing a brand new gimmick for the summer, which are the loop pieces. I think it's really cool that LEGO is making pieces like these. They look really fun to play with, and I cannot wait to test these out with actual motorcycles. Now, this is another set that's very overpriced in the US for what is essentially just a loop and a very small build on the side. It costs $77 where I'm from. However, in Europe, I only paid $58. So again, another savings of around $19. So pretty good savings overall to get these in Europe. And again, all these $17, $18, $19 savings are adding up, especially if they're per set. On the back here, you can see just how much action you can get out of this. And again, I cannot wait to build this, especially with the brand new fairing for the bike in a sort of classic biplanar plane style right there. But moving onwards, we have some more LEGO City stuff. This is for the farm sub-theme as well. This is kind of a sort of classic type of vehicle, but what I really wanted to get here was a brand new piece that they just introduced for this sub-theme. I'm not even sure if they show it off too clearly on the back of the box, but you can see right there, just in the corner, they made a brand new piece for LEGO Corn. I think it's really cool that they actually are diversifying the amount of vegetation that we get from LEGO stuff, so I think it's really cool to get that in a relatively cheap set like this. This particular set in the US costs around $50, however, in Europe I only paid $31, so that's around a $20 savings for this set here, which I think $30 for this set is a lot more fair than $50. I'm really glad I did not have to pay $50 for this set, especially because it is just a truck with some vegetation, but it is really cool to get the brand new corn element as well as the growing plants element, which you can see right there, which I also feel would be very useful for LEGO cacti later on down the line. Now, alongside this sort of farm or environmental-like sub-theme for City, we have another set right here. This right here is the grocery store. Now, this is pretty monumental because it introduces a minifigure with a realistic prosthetic leg for the first time, as well as recoloring the LEGO Friends cart element in dark orange. Now, this set does feature a road plate, and I am trying to collect all of the road plate LEGO City sets. In fact, you can check out in my channel, I put together all of the road plate sets from the first half of this year, so you can go check that out in the description below if you want to see that. However, this relatively small grocery store costs around $77 in the US, whereas here it was only around 60 euros. So again, a pretty big difference in terms of the pricing there, savings of around 14 US dollars just by getting this in Europe. And it is just a really nice thing to get to expand your LEGO City layout, especially because again, this does introduce the corn piece as well. Moving on from that, let's kind of work our way into here. Now, you can notice that I actually have all of the Ninjago sets out here. I actually will be doing a separate review on all of the brand new LEGO Ninjago crystallized sets, so do stay tuned for that. I do just want to very briefly kind of just go over them so you can see all the Ninjago sets before me. First off, we have the Samurai X Mech for Nia right here. This was one of the largest sets in the entire wave. We have a jet for Zane, specifically Zane's Golden Dragon Jet. We have a Golden Dragon Raider for Kai with a very strange function to splay out the wheels. We have the Golden Raider for Cole here, Jay's Golden Dragon motorcycle, and then we also have a massive Golden Dragon for the Oni version of Lloyd, as well as the Crystal King in his centaur form, plus the Crystal King's temple back there. All in all, some fantastic minifigures and some very interesting sets, which of course we will be taking a much closer look at for the review itself. Unfortunately, the minifigures were already bulldozed by the motorcycles earlier. With that though, let's now move on to some of the other sets we have here. Now, specifically, this Brickhead set is a 4-pack for Harry Potter. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the rest of the Harry Potter sets I will just be getting from Shop at Home in the US, but this one I did want to get because for whatever reason it was delayed in the US. I don't really know when or if this will come in stock anytime soon, so I had to pick it up here because, again, it was supposed to come out in the US on June 1st, but somehow did not. Moving onwards, we have another Disney Princesses set here. This is actually the only one from the summer wave that I did pick up, but I specifically wanted it because of the brand new opalescent transparent satin glitter blue pieces here. You can see every single one of the domed pieces here is in the brand new color, which is really interesting to see. I cannot wait to actually have these pieces in hand. Kind of reminds me of some of the older Lego Belleville or Scala stuff, which is not a bad thing. It's cool to see Lego being a lot more experimentative with colors and experimenting with different things here and there, so really cool to see this, and I cannot wait to build this myself. And again, as usual, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but it was a lot cheaper to get this in Europe than the US. Moving onwards, we have the final creator set that I was able to pick up for this particular haul. This is the glorious return of Lego Vikings. So Lego Vikings was a line that was pretty short-lived in 2006, but they actually have basically just resurrected one of the classic Lego Vikings set concepts, almost a one-to-one type of concept for the set. It is literally the Viking ship versus the Midgard serpent, just like we got back in 2006. Now, of course, they have modernized the building techniques. The sail is fully brick-built rather than the cloth sail that we got previously. We have brand new Viking minifigures, as well as a really special brand new helmet piece for the female Viking here, which is new for this set in particular. But really, this just feels like a modern reinterpretation of one of the classic Lego Viking sets. And of course, you can see with Creator 3-in-1, you have different builds that you can rebuild the Viking ship into, such as the Fenris Wolf there, which was, again, one of the classic Viking sets back in 2006, as well as a really nicely done Viking Tavern as well. But moving on from that, we have Lego Monkey Kid. So let me just get some of this stuff off to the side here, set aside some of the Ninjago stuff here so I can scooch inwards. So this right here is the Dragon of the East. So Lego Monkey Kid consistently produces some of the best original Lego sets that they've really done for any theme. Honestly, it's even a lot better than Ninjago in a lot of regards in terms of their set quality, because a lot of development effort goes into making these sets. Now, the Dragon of the East was a recurring character in Season 3 of Monkey Kid. You can see the submarine dragon hybrid right here. I really love the way that the head sculpt is made. It's really interesting seeing that Monkey Kid is actually diverting from the usual Lego formula, whereas with something like Ninjago, you have pretty clearly defined good guys and bad guys as sets. Monkey Kid tends to focus on a lot of neutral parties, like the Dragon of the East here, as well as some of the other sets here, and really just does a lot in terms of fleshing out the world and making the characters feel a lot more complex. Of course, moving on the back here, you'll notice that the submarine does detach from the dragon itself, and you even have a smaller little submarine for Monkey Kid himself, plus Tang in a scuba diving outfit right there. Moving on, we can actually set some of these aside for now. You already saw this Ninjago set right here, which I just had to pick up, as well as this particular stunt set, which I accidentally got twice. I'll have to return this later on. And we will take a look at this in a second, but just continuing on the Monkey Kid trend, we have the team van right here. So this is one of these sets that is pretty egregiously overpriced in the US. Now, specifically, the US price for the Monkey Kid team van is $140 some dollars. So $143 to be precise, with tax included for this set in the US. Versus here, it was only around 100 euros. That's 105 US dollars, which means I literally saved almost $40 by buying the set here versus in the US. So very good deal for me in particular. I think that $100 for this is relatively fair. Obviously, it would have been nicer to have it a lot cheaper, but $140 is pretty ridiculous for something like this. So I'm glad I was able to pick this up in Europe. Now, the team van itself is a vehicle that got a lot of screen time in Season 3. It was almost in every single episode, and you can really see this is kind of the newer headquarters for Team MK. You have a lot of interior detail here, which is really cool. They're keeping with the cargo aesthetic from the cargo ship, which was their headquarters in Season 1. And you can also see that this actually does include a lot of different modularity to it, where you can really just unpack the entire thing all at once. Well, that being said, we can now move on to what is probably one of the best Monkey Kid sets ever. I'm incredibly excited to build this. This is set number 80039, the Heavenly Realms. So this right here is the Heavenly Realms set. This honestly is probably one of the best, if not the best, Monkey Kid set we've gotten to date. It is absolutely on par with the Flower Fruit Mountain, which we got last year, another amazing Monkey Kid set. And you can see right here that this depicts one of the original legends for the Journey to the West in Chinese mythology, with all of the classic characters from the Chinese mythology story as well. They actually don't include many of the original LEGO characters here. It's really focused on the original legend, which is really interesting to see here. Now, of course, this does have a very interesting function. As you splay the two kind of layers outwards, the clouds will slowly part to reveal the heavenly realms. Otherwise, it is shrouded in these cloud elements here. So a really cool function to actually integrate into the temple itself. This is probably one of the most ornate Asian-inspired temples that we've ever gotten from LEGO. I cannot wait to build this, and this is probably one of the best sets of the year already. Moving onwards, we just have a few more sets, and then we have almost wrapped up this haul. So first off, we have another LEGO City Farm set here, just a really small one with some new colors for the chickens there. Kind of reminds me of some of the LEGO Kingdoms chickens in the way that these ones are colored in the dark orange right there. And you also have the new steering piece, which debuted, I believe, last year for the buggy here, which is always fun to get for these smaller LEGO City vehicles. Moving onwards, we have the train station for City. This is again a set that I believe is quite expensive in the US. If I recall correctly, this is $77 where I'm from. Let me just double check on that. And yes, this, oh no, this is not $77. This is $110 in the US. So I thought this was actually a lot cheaper than it was. No, this is $110 in the US, which is pretty ridiculous. No way I would pay $110 for this. I mean, I've got to draw a line somewhere, I think. This is pretty crazy. But thankfully here it was only $80 to get in Europe, which is, I still think probably should have been closer to $70, but $80 is a lot more palatable than $110, which means it is pretty significant savings to buy it here versus in the US. So this is kind of just another kind of train station layout, which we have seen in the past, but it has been quite a while since we've gotten a focus on LEGO trains. So it is nice to see a more modern train station, which also includes a bus for transportation. But moving onwards to the actual trains themselves, this is where the LEGO City prices get a little bit ridiculous, especially in the US. And part of what really motivated my haul was these sets right here. So in the US, this is close to $200. That's right, this passenger train is $200 US, but it is only $158 in Europe. So that's a savings of pretty much over $40 by buying it here. I still think $160 is a little bit high, especially for a train like this. The US price is kind of ridiculous. I don't know why they're trying to charge close to $200 for it, but I am glad I was able to get it here. And this train is actually really well done. I think this train is probably going to go down in history as one of the classic, very popular and very sought after LEGO trains. I can imagine people will want to buy two of these to have the complete train from front to back, so that may be something I'll do down the line if it ever goes on sale, but for now, this is really cool to get. And they actually reintroduced lights in the trains as well, which you haven't seen in quite a while for LEGO train sets. So can't wait to build this. This kind of feels like an update to some of the classic LEGO trains, like the orange Creator train that we got a few years back, so really cool to get this in a brand new color. Now the final train set here, 60336, this is the brand new cargo train. Now we've had a cargo train on shelves since 2018, so finally we are getting an upgrade here. This specifically is the freight train. It costs around $210 in the US. Here it was only $190, so a savings of $20. Not as crazy savings as this, but it is still nice to get some sort of savings for this particular set here. There's actually quite a lot going on here. You can see that you have some plants growing and being transported, which ties into the farm sub-theme, so you actually have a tie into that. You also have some solar power here, which the specific solar panels tie into the space sub-theme, so they're really trying to incorporate different sub-themes of City into this one set. And of course, moving it all around, you can see the completed train, which is the cargo train here with the transporter, as well as a bit of a carrier for small cars as well, which I think is really cool to get. Haven't really seen that in official LEGO City trains before. But finally, just before we get to the free gift, there is just one last set here for LEGO City Stunts. Much like many of the other stunt sets, this was a lot cheaper to get in Europe. This one in particular cost $165 where I'm from in the US, whereas here was only $140. So pretty big savings on this one. They actually have two different loops here, which I expect contributed to a lot of the price. You have two of the brand new bikes being introduced for the set as well, including some new tassel pieces being introduced for the hairpiece of the biker right there, which is really interesting to see. You can actually see a closer look right there on the kind of style of bike here. You have a vinyl flame piece, which is cool to get. And turning this onward to the back, what's very interesting is that they actually showcase you can stack the loops together and have a double loop here. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work, although these motorcycles do have quite a lot of power behind them. So I really cannot wait to test this out myself and see just how well the double loops work. And last set here, which was again a pretty significant difference in savings versus the US compared to the EU, is this I Am Groot set. Now, Marvel actually introduced 2 new sets for June 1st, this one and the Man Armory, although unfortunately the Armory was pretty much the same price in any region, so I just opted to get this one and save the other one to get when I'm back in the US. This is a 1-to-1 posable scale figure of the Baby Groot character from Guardians of the Galaxy. I cannot wait to build it. It is an adorable Lego set, and you can see it all right here. But finally with that, our haul has come to an end. There was just one final free gift I was able to get from the Rome Lego store. Now this is actually really cool because you're actually supposed to only be able to get this gift by purchasing the Stadium, which came out last year. But thankfully they were able to throw it in as a free gift for me. I do already have this one, but I'll probably be keeping it either for resale or just to give it away because it is just a really cool small free gift to get. And it's really nice that they were able to throw this in, especially because they didn't currently have any other GWPs running, so unfortunately, despite buying all the stuff, there wasn't really anything free to get. Unfortunately, the best free gift, which is coming later this summer, hits in mid to late June, which is the revamp of the LEGO Forest Men Classic Castle set. They're actually resurrecting a classic castle set from the 1980s and making it a free gift with updated modern building techniques. Unfortunately, again, you have to wait until mid-June to get that, so I probably will have to come up with something else to buy to get multiples of that around then, but unfortunately that wasn't available for this. But with that, we have summed up this massive June 1st haul, and this isn't all because back at home I have a lot more sets waiting for me, specifically the LEGO Minecraft releases and the LEGO Harry Potter stuff, plus the amazing Optimus Prime set and the Van Gogh set, so a lot more is on the way. And just to wrap things up here, I actually crunched the numbers and figured out exactly how much money I saved by being a foreigner in Europe buying these here. Again, because I am from the US, I get the VAT tax-free refund in Europe, so all of this was tax-free, versus in Washington State, I would be paying 10% sales tax, and I saved over $500 by just buying these sets here versus in the US. So all in all, because of the crazy discrepancies in LEGO's prices for this year in particular, I saved $500, which is pretty remarkable, and I'm very glad I was able to buy them here. Now, the big question is how I'm going to take all this home, and that is a question I will have to figure out pretty much right now. And just one last thing I do want to note, unfortunately, LEGO just very recently put out a press release saying that across the board they are increasing the prices of pretty much almost every single LEGO set, which affects almost everything here. So sets like, say, this set right here, which is Kai's Dragon Raider, which was $90 in the US, has shot up to $100 US. Stuff like the Golden Dragon here, which was $140, is now $150. And unfortunately, that applies to Europe as well. They're all shooting up by around $10 to $20 or euros a piece. Some sets are even shooting up by 40 to 50 euros. So price increases are coming across the board for the LEGO group, which is quite unfortunate to hear. It seems that LEGO was trying to make up for some production discrepancies and pipeline issues, which they have been suffering from, specifically over the past year. They've been having a lot of issues fulfilling the orders because profits have been up. LEGO is pretty much more popular than ever, and LEGO apparently needs to invest in a lot more infrastructure to do this. Also, LEGO recently invested billions of dollars in the metaverse. They actually put out a press release saying that they spent most of their profits on investing in the metaverse and creating more ways to play with LEGO in a digital space. So they're probably wanting to recoup on that billion-dollar investment in Epic Games as well. So that is probably all of what comes into the massive increase in prices here. But just get ready because starting in September, everything is going to shoot way up in price. So get what you need to get right now. Alright, and with that, we have summed up my June 1st LEGO haul. There's a lot of great stuff here, and I cannot wait to get building. Now, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this haul? Do you own any of these sets already? And which are your favorite sets out of all of the new releases? And be sure to stay tuned to Duck Breaks for more reviews, LEGO news, and discussions coming your way very, very soon. Specifically, check out the Ninjago Crystallized review, which is probably one of the first reviews I will publish for the June 1st season. Thank you again all for tuning in, and bye-bye for now.